Welcome to Waxing the Porpoise, the podcast that dives deep into the unexplored depths of cinema and occasionally the unexplained. This week, G-Baby and the usual suspects Steve welcome back our favorite boils and ghoul, Naterade, Thon and Logan of the Ghoulish University podcast for our Valentine's Day special to discuss the 1993 Mike Myers banger, So I Married an Axe Murderer. A film with an exquisite ensemble cast and a smattering of all-time cameos from the likes of Phil Hartman, Charles Grodin, Stephen Wright, and Michael Richards. Join us as we wax lovingly about early to mid-90s film and pop culture, including flashbacks to Carmen Sandiego and Beethoven-era Charles Grodin, the outstanding performances of the supporting cast that really tie the room together, react to weirdest things we've ever eaten, and get pissed on some good old ham-fisted Scottish stereotypes.
He! Pants! No!
The porpoises, midnight companions, and keen observers dare to give love another chance whilst navigating the slings and arrows of paranoia, familial eccentricities, and fear of commitment in a windy and nostalgic trip down Lombard Street. Let's wax this pleasure spiked with pain porpoise.
Chase, don't do that.
You see, we working on his brow chakra. We're just in back at the crown chakra.
The guy that I like is your friend Dave.
Dave!
Yeah.
Fudge!
All right, welcome to Waxing the Porpoise, the podcast where we dive deep into the dark and uncharted waters of film, high strangeness, and everything in between. This evening marks episode 88, which also happens to be our Valentine's Day special, and we decided on So I Married an Axe Murderer from 1993, starring Mike Myers, Nancy Travis, Anthony LaPaglia, and many others. Tonight, you got myself, Jim G. Baby.
My name is John Johnson, but everyone here calls me Vicky.
And, of course, we have the usual suspect, Steve.
Oh, yes! I'm insensitive! I'm a very insensitive man! Stop your job! Look at the insensitive man!
How's it going, man?
Second best Michael Richards freak out of all time. Should have been an early warning.
Yeah, he does that a little too good. And then this is also a special episode because we have returning guests, the full trifecta from the Ghoulish University podcast, come to join us. First, we'll start with Naterade.
Show the picture of Charlie when he shit his pants in Niagara Falls.
How's it going, Naterade?
It's going pretty good. How are you guys doing?
Good. Good to have you on. I'm glad you could make it.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here.
And then that brings us to Headmistress Logan.
There seems to be a mistake. I believe I ordered the large cappuccino. Hello!
Hello. How's it going, Logan?
I'm well. Sorry, I spoke over you. I'm doing great. It's fine Thursday evening.
Awesome. And then rounding out the Ghoulish Uni crew, we have Thon.
Dad, how can you hate the Colonel?
Because he puts an addictive chemical in his chicken that makes you crave it fortnightly, smart arse.
Interesting.
Cuckoo. How's it going, brother man?
Hey, what's going on, man? Very excited.
Sweet. Yeah, me too.
That was, I believe I had quoted that on the show before, haven't I?
I think so. That's when I was trying to pick one all tailored to one another. That was the first one. I was like, all right, I got Thon on lock for the fortnightly chemical chicken. Yeah, that was fun going through all the bumps. There's so many. I was like, dude,
fertile hunting ground.
Oh yeah,
dude. Yeah, I was like, it was an embarrassment of riches for sure. So I have many more lined up that I can't wait to get into here.
Hey, please, I beg you.
Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Daddy.
So this is one I couldn't believe Steve hadn't seen this before, and I just thought we hadn't done a Valentine special before, and this is kind of like a romance kind of gone awry comedy movie that I thought would kind of hit that hit that mark, and I'm glad you guys could join us. So, yeah, let's get into it here. What is Steve? Confirm you hadn't seen this before. This is the first time watch.
Yeah, I'd never seen it before. I was always aware of it. I think it was like a year or two before I was actually really watching movies. So I think I missed the boat on that. Like, I've never seen Wayne's World and wasn't a huge... Take it easy. Take it easy. It wasn't a big SNL fan, but I will say, when I was watching it, I remembered when I was younger, I saw one scene from this movie, and it was when he's fighting on the roof at the end. And in my mind, my memory was it was his wife that he was fighting with. So the entire time I was watching it, like, okay, yeah, clearly the wife is the killer. So I'm just going to enjoy the ride leading up to it. So that made it more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Because that's not the case. But that was the extent of my knowledge about this one.
Mandela affected yourself.
Yeah, right?
Whoa.
And you gave G-Baby a seizure.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild, though. Like, I know you're a couple years younger. Yeah. Wayne's World's fucking awesome, man.
We are not worthy.
Dude, yeah, so many good cameos. Farley's got a cameo in that one. It's like a perfect movie, almost. Like, you could just throw it on anytime, and it's like, yeah, Shank level. I know that's a bold statement.
Yeah.
So what do you think of this one?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was so much better than I was expecting.
Nice.
I was kind of expecting like sort of corny, early 90s, not very funny humor that doesn't really stand up the test of time, but I was cracking up quite a bit. And I mean, the cast is unreal. There are so many good parts. I mean, Charles Grodin.
Yes. And the whole commandeering arc comes together.
I need to commandeer this vehicle. No.
It's like the perfect person to try it on. Like,
yeah,
so I happen to know for a fact that you cannot commandeer.
May I please commandeer this vehicle?
No.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah, I thought the writing was better than it needed to be for this type of movie. Yeah, I loved it. It was awesome.
Sweet. I honestly didn't think it was going to be such a glowing positive for you, or yeah, that's wild. Because for me, it's always the third act kind of drags a little bit, and I thought that might pull you down. So cool. Yeah, I mean, first time watch though, it's pretty. I've seen it fucking. It's probably the 489th time I've seen it. So, I think this time though, there was a couple things still that I had never kind of latched onto that I'm excited to bring up. Just some like real niche, like little things in the background that are pretty fucking clever. So that's fun. I mean, it's got a lot of mileage. It's like it's got high rewatchability for sure. Naterade, what's your past history with this one?
I have no past
as
history.
As your cat
with
fucking uses you as a jungle gym.
Yeah. Yeah, I have no history with it. This was my first time watch as well.
Oh, no shit. Awesome.
Yeah. Which is kind of weird for me because I'm a Mike Myers fan. I love the Austin Power movies, and I've repeatedly watched his best of SNL skits, which is always a banger.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, this one was always... I knew of it, but just never watched it. This is my first time, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Sweet. Hell yeah. Awesome. Thon, I know you've seen this a ton. What's your history with this one? Did you watch it, grow up with it, or?
Yeah, I had this on VHS.
Oh, damn. Okay.
And not only like I didn't have it on VHS like in the box and everything, it was on a blank VHS with the label handwritten with two
nice.
other movies on it.
Dude, that's how I saw Ghostbusters for the first time.
I had Ghostbusters and Ghostbusters 2 on one too.
I got a tape at my grandma would take me to yard sales like every Saturday morning, and fucking that was so good times, man. Recording off of TV.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I've seen this I countless times. still hilarious to me. It's one of my favorite movies all time. Like, no joke.
Oh yeah.
So
if I would have watched this as a kid, I think I would have watched it a million times also.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I think it had kind of one of those things like the Top Gun syndrome too, where it was played a lot on like cable, like TNT or Comedy Central probably. So
yeah, I remember always seeing the previews for it whenever like Comedy Central is ready to air it or something. And again, never watched it, just always see the trailers for it. That's about it.
Well, that brings us to round us out to you, Logan. What's your history with So I Married an Ex-Murderer?
Also my first time.
Yes.
I hadn't seen it before, but it was brought on our radar whenever a cast member of this movie was on Tales from the Crypt, and we covered it, and Thon talked about it in Astrology. So it's been on my radar for a little while, and I've heard of it in the like Mike Myers epic things you should watch. But I finally, this kind of finally motivated me to actually sit down and watch it. And it was so good I watched it twice. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. Damn. So this just passed with flying colors all around.
How can it not?
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard to miss with what they got, the mojo they got cooking in this one. So we can kind of just do a free for all, things that you liked. I don't think we need to go like point by point. It's not that kind of movie, but I guess just a real quick summary. So this is former, obviously, of Saturday Night Live fame, Mike Myers attempted to transform himself from Wayne's World into a romantic leading man with this film, which was ultimately a box office disappointment. He stars as Charlie McKenzie, a San Francisco poet who meets the girl of his dreams, Harriet Michaels. He's neurotic. He's got trust issues and commitment issues in the past, but he thinks that Harriet could be the one until his mother, played by Brenda Fricker, the pigeon lady from
Home Alone 2, duh.
Home Alone Deuce.
Was poet his job? I felt like that was pretty unclear the entire time.
I always thought like, oh, okay, that's what this guy does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just thought that was a hobby.
Slam poetry.
Sick.
I'm sure like even in this, at this day and age, like he probably had to have some kind of a side gig. But in San Francisco, like, yeah, I don't think slam poetry's paying the monthly note.
Maybe he worked at the coffee shop too. He was just off that night.
Well, he had time to go work in the butcher shop.
Yeah. So his mother and his best friend Tony, played by Anthony LaPaglia, begin to suspect that Harriet could be an axe-wielding serial killer named Mrs. X. Harriet also has a wacky sister, played by Amanda Plummer. And although this film earned less than $12 million at the U.S. box office, Myers hit upon the Peter Sellers-inspired formula of playing various supporting characters within the film, portraying Charlie's amusingly paranoid father, Stuart, who I think obviously steals every scene he's in.
Best part of the entire movie, for sure.
Yeah. And which, I mean, he went on to do in Austin Powers, playing multiple roles. So I want to say this is, besides kind of the stuff he did on SNL, this is the first time he did it in a film. So yeah, that's kind of like an overview of the flick. I mean, I think obviously we have to talk about Mom and Dad first. Our first intro to Brenda Fricker and Mike Myers playing his dad. Right off the bat, you get the Scottish Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Man.
Did you guys notice any fun names on the Wall of Fame?
Sheena Easton.
Yes.
Dude.
9 to 5, or what's the name of that song?
Yes, that's the one.
That what's his face used to play?
Dude, that it sucks because
the morning train.
If you don't know that song, and you need to look it up because it will be stuck in your head for a decade. It is so fucking catchy.
Yeah,
you know what else? You know what else will get stuck in your head? SATURDAY. Night. SATURDAY.
Man, turn off the bass with your rollers.
So good.
It gets you in like a good mood, like instantly.
Oh, yeah.
When he's going over to, you get to meet the folks, and Anthony LaPaglia is awesome too. Like just broing down, watching the soccer game, ripping on the younger brother.
Look, that's a huge noggin.
Dude.
Well, so you know who the younger brother is?
Oh yeah. Did you recognize him right away from?
No, I didn't right away, but I looked it up.
Oh, really?
No, I didn't.
Even though he is sporting a huge fro, so it's quite different from.
Yeah,
but he's got a pretty distinctive.
He looked familiar. I just didn't think about it. But yeah, Averman from the Mighty Ducks franchise.
No shit.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I couldn't recognize him. To be honest, not without the glasses.
Next time you watch Mighty Ducks, you'll be like, "Oh shit!
Look at that."
Averman
melon.
Pinch you and cranium.
Dude, he keeps calling his son Heed.
Yeah, he's credited as William Heed McKenzie.
Not kidding, that kid's head is like Sputnik.
Heed! Punch!
I'm so glad that's a bump.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite one because he's just got his like those legging things, the stirrup fucking things that old ass like people from Scotland wear. He's just in his fucking underwear pants. He calls Brenda Fricker a hen.
Yeah.
Like, all right, hen, and then he tells the boy to go do whatever she told him to do.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The one thing that always sticks out to me is like there's like no interaction with that kid. I know it's like it's not needed or anything, but the one time is when Mike Myers comes. He's like, "Oh, hey, William," or whatever the fuck his name is, and he doesn't even respond to him, and he's like, "This is my life."
I sure thought they were like half brothers.
Yeah, I mean they could. Maybe that's why they're not like super close. Like maybe, yeah. That
There's
one
certainly an age difference there.
Yeah, definitely.
The Heed might actually be Tony's kid with the way the mom was making Tony.
That scene always fucking gets me. What'd she say? He's turned into a right sexy wee little bastard. Dude, I always remember that as a kid too. I was like, dude, she is fucking planting one. And Mike Myers is just like, all right, bye, mom. Like, I'd be like, yo, that's my friend. Like,
I have
that's my mom.
Yeah, dude.
Is it normal to just kiss your friend's moms on the lips?
Dude, she was
only
like,
if you're lucky.
Like yeah, right. What was there was one.
I love how Tony is just egging on the dad too. Like he's over there just broing down with him, but he's also like asking him questions, like trying to egg him on to keep him going, like get more stories out of him and everything.
Dude, Tony is laughing throughout that scene, and I would not be surprised if he wasn't supposed to laugh, but they just kept it in the movie. There was this.
It's all improvised. It's all Mike Myers. There's if you go
I would love to see some outtakes or some alternate, or him just running lines on that would be awesome. Yeah, I think because there's a point he's like, hey, he's like, you're gonna give him a complex, you know, and then he says something, and he's right there, fucking just laughing his ass off, like right along with him.
That was offsides. He's gonna go cry himself tonight. Sleep on his huge pillow,
dude. Yeah. So then we get also the introduction of Brenda Fricker, the mom, and how she refers to like the paper. It's like the Weekly World News.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember was that what it was called back in the day? Like the Bat Boy? Was it Weekly? Yep. They were able to use the actual title. So one thing that snuck
paper in the world, I'll have you know.
Yeah. I love that too, because when he's like, okay, whatever, and then later on when he's like getting pulled into it, he drops that same, he's like, hey, I'll have you know, like
yeah, I miss those old tabloids. I don't think they're really around as much anymore, but
no, it's just part of the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do like that their example of like the craziest article you could ever think of is like a man giving birth. And now if you made a joke about that, you'd be packing up your shit and going to have a meeting with HR.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny too, though. Like like a year after this, they came out with Junior too. That was the first thing I thought of, was just because Junior's just a fucking banger in general. That's a. I don't think it gets enough credit.
Never seen it. Film. Don't care.
Dude,
Arnold and Danny DeVito, really?
Yeah, come on. They
I
can't.
thought they were twins.
Yeah,
they were also
in Twins. Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
You haven't seen Twins?
Nope.
Oh
Dude,
my
Twins
god,
is a banger, man. It's real good. There's so many now. I already got Roger Rabbit on the list. I got to add Twins. Some point, maybe Junior. I want my Larry. Just hearing Arnold like trying to talk like a woman. Oh man, that's worth the price of admission right there. Yeah. Who? I thought I wrote the trivia down on who was on the Scottish Wall of Fame.
Sean Connery for sure.
Sean Connery for sure.
Yeah, Sean Connery was really. He was the only one I really recognized.
There's 9 pictures. So singer Sheena Easton, inventor Alex.
Fuck. God damn it.
The Morning Train, inventor Alexander Graham Bell, Prince Charles Edward Stewart, aka Bonnie Prince Charlie. I don't know who the fuck that is. Poet Robert Burns, race car driver Jackie Stewart, actor Sean Connery, writer Robert Louis Stevenson, comedian Billy Connolly. That guy's pretty funny. And entertainer Harry Lauder. I don't know who the fuck that is either.
The queen on the dartboard.
I was going to say, we need to talk about the queen on the dartboard. And I remember shortly after the queen passed away, I saw so many tweets about how Irish people were having the best day of their lives and the Scots were so happy. And I was like, God damn, they fucking hated her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shit like reaches back like a long time. Like centuries.
It's a nice touch, for sure.
Yeah, he goes on. That's what spawned that. I guess he did that Pentaveret show on Netflix, like the branch off. I didn't watch it because I heard it was just boo boo.
It was not. It was the stuff that was funny was recycled jokes that you've already heard in other movies, and especially like that one. But yeah, it wasn't great.
Is the Pentaveret like the modern day? Well, is the Illuminati the modern day equivalent of the Pentaveret?
I think that's like an analog for it. Like that's what he was getting at.
Comparison.
Yeah, trying to paint him as like kind of like a conspiracy minded, and they created like their own this Pentaveret thing that he's all worked up about that includes the Colonel.
Reminds me of my
with his wee beady eyes.
This wee beady. Oh, I hated the Colonel.
So after we get introduced to them, we meet Harriet, played by Nancy Travis, who I thought she's like a weird actress. Like I feel like I've seen her in a lot of stuff. When you really look at it, I'm like, I haven't really seen her in anything. I guess she just has one of those faces.
Yeah.
Or maybe she was on a show for a lot of years, so she was just kind of in that consciousness. But she plays Harriet, the love interest, who happens to be a butcher, which is pretty fucking hardcore. And her weirdo sister, played by couldn't imagine anyone else filling this role for her. She kind of makes it. Mm-hmm. And then we got like Alcatraz is obviously like we get Phil Hartman. What do y'all think of this scene? This
oh
one,
my gosh,
it's awesome.
the bitch story.
Business turn pissing in the bitches.
Ocular cavities.
Ocular cavities.
Dude, I was almost going to use that like as an intro bump, but it was a little bit too long.
He and 4 other inmates took turns pissing into the bitch's ocular cavities.
Hey,
this way to the cafeteria.
This way to the cafeteria. Yeah.
the Phil Hartman stone face when he stops.
Oh, when he starts talking, he's like, "Oh no,
yeah,
dude, yeah."
He
channels
gets me every time.
So there are a few celebrity deaths that really bug me. Steve Irwin, Bill Paxton, and Phil Hartman are my podium.
Mm-hmm.
And like, it's just, there's like an extra sad irony of how good Phil Hartman is in this movie about a crazy bitch who kills her husband. Mm-hmm. Because I don't know if you all are familiar that Phil Hartman's crazy bitch wife shot him to death in his sleep and then killed herself.
Yeah.
So just a PSA to anybody, man or woman, if you hate your spouse that much, just kill yourself. Like, you don't need to kill them first because,
or just leave.
Yeah,
and then kill yourself.
But if you must, just kill yourself, because if you kill them, your life is over. So you really don't have any choice other than to live in prison for the rest of your life or take yourself out. And at least if you kill yourself first, you could try to convince yourself that the other person is going to be racked with guilt for the rest of their life. They probably won't be. But so sad. Phil Hartman was a man.
Yeah, he was, and I've heard a lot of stories like behind the scenes that he was like one of the good guys, you know, like he wasn't an asshole. He didn't treat people like shit, you know, and he was like he's just a good dude, regardless if you were an actor or if you were like running the craft service table, you know, like he didn't big league anybody.
Jingle All the Way. Does it get any better?
I just watched that this winter, and he was my favorite part of the movie.
Oh, these cookies.
You can't bench press your way out of this one.
Yeah, he had, I mean, there's a lot of classic Simpsons that has, it's funny because of Phil Hartman.
Dude.
Yeah. I got a question on him. Was the bitch story that he told, was that improvised too? Do you know that, Thon, at all?
I have no idea.
I don't.
I would love to know. I'd like to find out if that was improvised or not.
I wouldn't. That one's tricky because I know a lot of fucked up shit went down at Alcatraz, and they had some of the like wildest prisoners there. So that one's tough. But I'd be inclined to say he improv'd it. I don't know how I got sidetracked on this, but I saw it was like audition tape for, I don't know if it was for SNL, but it was Phil Hartman, and it was like people just going up doing a character and letting me watch it, and he went up for like 17 minutes, and he just had this one man show, and he didn't miss a beat, he didn't stutter. It's crazy. It's like seeing, like, you know, those people that have their 20,000 hours in and know exactly what they're doing, like consummate professional. It's pretty unreal. I was like, how does someone do that? Just like get up and just thinking on the fly, and how creative he was. So yeah, he aces every second he's in this film, which is not very long, but
true talent.
Leaves a stamp. Let's see.
I just want to know why they call him Vicky instead of John Johnson.
Yeah, that's such an awesome
That'd be
choice.
A good story.
Yeah.
To like just hang it out there, and then like, because you can tell this guy's wound tighter than a fucking drum. Like,
but you can call me Vicky.
Yeah, like him having that nickname, there's got to be something so wild. Like, think of like Jesse Plemons in Game Night. Like, how could that be profitable for Frito-Lay? Okay, one thing I missed is that I noticed for the first time is when they first go to Mom and Dad's, and he goes in and he's talking to Brenda Fricker. She's like, "Look, I got my new juicer. It's a Juice Tiger." And then she turns and there's like this chart on the fridge and she's like, I'm on my new Weekly World News Garth Brooks juice diet.
Oh my God, the Garth Brooks killed me.
I never clocked that. Like, I'm back in the living room with the dad and all that stuff. You know, it just totally, but this time I was trying to like look and I was like, that's fucking awesome.
A juice tiger?
Dude, I love her Scottish voice. Like when she's talking about Mrs. X, and she's like, and she's whereabouts are unknown. Like that fucking something about that, man. It's awesome. Yeah, she's great in this. I didn't realize she's a fucking Oscar winner. I don't know for what, but she's won an Oscar, which is wild.
Not for Home Alone 2?
I mean, it's a pretty powerful performance, but I don't think it was for that. There's some fun trivia once we get towards the tail end to wrap up with. They really shot for the moon trying to get some big names in here. But yeah, she's an excellent get. Also, right when they get in, his first interaction, he's like, "Hey, Dad," and he's like,
"Kiss your butt or I'll kick your teeth in."
Dude. Oh, fuck. I loved that part. And then, yeah.
All right, give your mother a kiss or I'll kick your teeth in.
He's like, "Yeah, go away. Have her try on one of her bras. Fly away." Yeah. Oh man,
he must have got the inspiration for "fat bastard" from this this guy.
Totally. And well, Shrek, he said he used the same exact like cadence and voice for Shrek as well.
I've never seen it because I'm not 9.
I haven't seen Shrek either.
You were when it came out, though.
I highly recommend. 10 out of 10. Shrek 2 is one of the greatest sequels like of all time, and I will die on that hill.
I guess to be fair, in my high school Spanish class, the teacher, Spanish 1, mind you, she played Shrek in Spanish beginning to end, knowing that none of us knew what the fuck anybody was saying.
Nice.
So I guess I have seen it.
Did the person speaking in Spanish try to twist a Scottish accent on it?
Oh, wow.
Ooh, dude, that's like 4D fucking chess, man.
Spanish accent?
That would be awesome.
I don't know. I checked out immediately. Just playing cards in the back of the room.
Dude, yeah, that would be awesome. Those two accent languages juxtaposed. Yeah, I missed the boat on Shrek as well, but I'm sure we'll get there.
Shrek is it's like a kid's movie that has good stuff for the adults. Like, sorry I spoke over you.
No, you're fine.
10 out of 10, but I think whenever we were watching this, I did, immediately he started doing the Scottish accent. I was like, oh my God. And I knew that Mike Myers was Shrek, but I was like, no, this is literally the Shrek voice. I saw him. It was funny.
Yeah, he said he just lifted straight up that same accent, which is funny because some deep dive trivia on Shrek and Mike Myers. Originally, Chris Farley was supposed to be Shrek before he died, and it was going to be a completely different kind of direction. He wasn't going to be Scottish and have that accent. So to Myers' credit, he brought a lot of himself to the Shrek universe and changed it. So would have been interesting though to see Farley break into younger kids fare. Maybe that could have kept him on a path. Maybe if it would have blown up the same way. Mm-hmm. So that was a celebrity death that hit me hard because being a husky fella my age, Chris Farley was your idol basically. Growing up with Tommy Boy and fucking Black Sheep was a big one. Yeah, that was a shame.
I am El Nino. With the Spanish for the Nino.
I love his old Chris Farley show.
Yes.
He had Paul McCartney on.
Remember that time you were with the Beatles? That was awesome.
Yeah. He had Jeff Daniels on. Jeff Daniels was a good one too, interviewing him. What'd you guys think of? Because I know Steve and I are native to California, so San Francisco is like something, all of it, especially kind of in that Central Valley, like going to. It's a really cool area. I like the setting, and they did almost everything on location, except the end, that crazy hotel thing, the Dunsmuir Hellman Historic Estate. I didn't realize. I thought it was somewhere on the coast, but it's in Oakland, actually. Steve, funny enough, a short drive away from Bay Farm Island,
which is not an island, as we know from friend of the show, Dick Dog.
Yep. Yeah, it's San Leandro to be more specific, but yeah, I thought for sure that was like somewhere dope, like on the coast, like Monterey or something. But anyway, what do you guys think of the setting of San Francisco and the story here?
Could you imagine getting dumped in front of the Full House setting?
It just plays running across the field.
Everywhere you look. I during the second watch, I was like, do you think this is like his breakup spot? Like he's starting to get too nervous about how committed they are, so he takes him to the Full House property area, and not property, he takes him to the Full House lawn, and he's like, all right, this is it.
Yeah, if you look closely,
she smelled like soup.
I was about to say he did it with the first girl that smelled like soup. So they're in an open air environment. He can break up with her.
Dude, I love that.
And barley soup.
I love that scene because he's like, "You're just being paranoid," and then he's all, "You weren't there."
She smelled exactly like beef vegetable soup.
Where she's working for the mob. And so
yeah,
she was unemployed. Well, that's just the perfect cover.
Yeah, that's a fun little quirk about Charlie. Mike Myers is. He has, the fear of commitment, so he has built in these really shitty ways of justifying breaking up, so he doesn't have to commit. And one of them is, she was in the Cosa Nostra. That she smelled like soup. Like he's really like
she's a klepto.
Yeah, she was a klepto, Tony.
I still don't know where my cat is.
Yeah, she stole my cat.
I'm scared you're going to leave me.
I'm gonna cleave you.
No.
This one kind of reminds me of Mrs. Doubtfire. I put it in the same bucket of like bummed out looking at how nice San Francisco used to be.
Yeah,
because I know we've beat it to death, but it is such a shithole now that it's really sad because it's such a nice city. But
yeah, it's an awesome it used to be a really awesome city.
Princess Diaries? No?
That was cool there?
San Francisco movie.
Oh, okay.
Did not know that.
It's pretty fun.
I didn't either.
Funny.
What about Father's Day with Billy Crystal and Robin Williams?
Yep.
Ooh.
That's a good one.
I think Getting Even with Dad. I don't know if that's Seattle or San Francisco. They look pretty
I don't think
similar
it's San
on
Francisco.
film.
With
okay.
JTT and Chevy Chase, right?
No,
or is
that's
Man of the House.
That's Man of the House.
Right.
That is Seattle for sure.
All right.
Dude, that Rain Dance song.
Yeah,
sometimes it'll just come
sing
on.
It, dude.
It was the Return to Innocence, is that what it is?
Yeah, that's what it
is. Dude, that's an awesome movie. I've been meaning to bring that up, and I was like, I know Steve's a Man of the House guy.
Yep.
No, I think Getting Even with Dad was Ted Danson and Macaulay Culkin. He had this ridiculous mullet. I think that may be an SF flick too. But have any of you guys been to San Francisco before?
I have not. I would like to go just to see Alcatraz, though, for sure.
Me too.
I did. I was able to go to San Francisco. I was excited because I was like, yes, I want to do all this. So I married an expert. Because they walk around like Golden Gate Park and stuff too. But then they
Palace of Fine Arts.
Palace of Fine Arts. I wanted to go there just for that. That place is dope.
Yeah, it looks it's weird. It's like that big dome and those pillars and that little pond. It's like it's super wild. But yeah, Golden Gate Park's awesome. They had, I don't know if the Exploratorium's still there. I think they moved it, but yeah, it's just a really, really cool area. And it was only like 3 hours away from us, so kind of spoiled in having that. Because Oakland, I mean,
4 or 5 hours if Jim's driving.
Dude, Steve drives like a fucking bat out of hell. I tell
Goddamn right.
Had this fucking Nissan Versa rental just pegged.
Yeah.
Going from like 18 lanes into fucking 7. Dude, I was clutching my pearls. Like, slow down, Steven.
You'd fit right in Texas.
Yeah, fuck, I couldn't make it. Like,
speaking of that place with the pillars, how majestic is Mike Myers' ballet dancing? Nadia!
Let us dance like children of the night.
He nailed those jumps.
Yeah, no, those leaps, I could tell he had dance training for sure. Some form of dance training, because those were like technical.
Nice. Yeah, that's how you know he's sprung, is when you're doing that.
Well,
that
I was gonna say, imagine being like
mating ritual.
Did you see her eat that hot dog?
Oh yeah.
Lizzie Gobbler.
Well, I was gonna say, imagine like being this comfortable on a first date. You're frolicking around the park at night.
Yeah, he's definitely sprung. Especially too when she bows up against those Russian soldiers and she's like fucking and tells them off and shit. They're like, oh fuck. It's like, yeah, fuck yeah. She'll fuck you up.
Steve, what did you think of the answer to what do you look for in a woman?
I'd say
You know, most people go for sense of humor, but I really got to go with breast size here.
That's right. So you also have to keep in mind, the entire time I thought she was the killer.
Yeah.
So I was just looking for little hints along the way, like maybe she took a knife out at that point and like put it up to him, and yeah. So I kind of like that I watched it thinking the ending was different the entire time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think the first time, because I was like, okay, or the first few times, it's clearly going to be Amanda Plummer, because she's batshit, but it's kind of good if you had that built in, because it creates a twist. Because it wasn't really, by the end, I was like, okay, yeah, it's clearly Amanda Plummer's behind all this, but this is a pretty tight, I think it's hour and 33, doesn't overstay its welcome, kind of wraps up in three acts really well. I was going off on a tangent about San Francisco. Yeah, it's really fallen downhill. I'm glad that they had so many, like you can go on IMDb and look at all the different places that they filmed, and there's some really cool spots, including that estate, that hotel at the end's fucking rad.
Were you going to mention The Rock?
No.
Okay. I thought maybe I was picking up on with the Palace of Fine Arts in the like little courtyard area where he does his little
with his ballet
dance.
Yeah. Was I know The Rock was filmed in and around there, but I'm sure they did
definitely they were at Palace of Fine Arts and they weren't at Alcatraz, obviously.
Yeah,
and down the hill and shit.
Oh, do you know what the name of that fucking funky ass hill is? There's a ton of them.
Lombard Street, yeah.
The one that like zigzags. Dude, I shit you not. One time I went to San Francisco to like it was like a restaurant on like the 50th floor, like nice. It's like set up with my ex, and we got in a cab, and this motherfucker, I swear to God, it was just like one of those cop movies almost. Like he wasn't bottoming out going down through the intersections, but he was like standing on it, and we're going like this grade was like so steep. He almost was bottoming out every time. Like he was like slamming on the gas right until it got to like the plateau of the intersection, and then slamming on the brakes super hard and then hitting the gas. It was wild, man. I was like, what the fuck's going on? I would never drive like this.
That guy must be getting paid by the mile, not the hour.
Yeah, dude. He was in a hurry. I was like, that's who you want rushing you to the fucking hospital. I also like what's her face's Harriet's pad. It's fucking awesome.
Holy shit.
Really cool fucking.
That's a great place.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
This
that
place
line is like, you know what this place is missing? A really huge, oversized poster of Atlantic City. Like, that is the biggest fucking poster I've ever seen in my life. It takes up a whole fucking like 16-foot wall.
It's pretty sick.
Then we get like the Fog City Diner. That's an actual place. That was cool that they shot on location there. We get introduced to the cringe-tastic scene with Debbie Mazar playing like, what the fuck's that game? What's worst?
Being electrocuted.
Damn it.
I will admit, I would probably cave like that. So I honestly just felt really bad.
Yeah.
They would be like, and I'd be like,
put me on the spot and I can't think of anything.
Wrecking your car. Like, I don't fucking know.
I know, that's what makes it that way. You get that like secondhand embarrassment. You're like, oh man, I would hate if that same exact scenario happened to me. Yeah, and then so Charlie starts getting like pretty paranoid. He starts like buying in to all the hype, and then they plant a bunch of seeds with it's like a Russian martial arts expert.
I had a friend.
A plumber named Ralph Elliott.
You know, Scotland has its own martial arts. It's called Fuck You. It's mostly just headbutting and then kicking people when they're on the ground.
Yeah.
The most beautiful.
Shut it!
If you did.
I love that part when she just keeps on fucking singing. It's like, dude, shut it.
I think
He's
most
just
Scottish
pissed.
cuisine is based on a dare. That's one of my favorite Scottish words.
Dude, I have some trivia about that that's actually pretty interesting about fucking haggis. I've always known it's like
gross.
sheep stomach wrapped with barley and maybe some other organs, but the fuck is it? Oh yeah, okay. So authentic haggis is actually illegal in the United States and has been since 1971 due to it containing sheep's lungs. The version Charlie bought was likely a variation using other parts and meats from other animals such as beef. That's wild. I didn't know it was like the legit OG recipe is illegal, but sheep's lungs sounds pretty fucking rough, man. Ugh.
Yeah, why would that make it like why would that be illegal?
I don't know. You know, sometimes it's weird with like, you know, import stuff. Maybe it's like imported or maybe like a certain type
like
of
foie
organ.
gras. That's not allowed because you force feed a duck or some shit. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, that shit is pretty brutal. If you've ever seen any clips of them force feeding those geese or ducks or whatever, yeah, it's pretty fucking hardcore. Yeah, it's like they stuff an air compressor down a fucking goose's throat.
What the fuck?
And they
so
turn it on.
That makes
full
sense.
blast.
But like if you're just using sheep lungs, like you can use
it
sheep.
is weird.
I don't know.
Yeah. What's the weirdest thing? We'll ask Thon when he gets back to. What's one of the weirdest things you guys have ever eaten?
Nothing. You know me. I have my phobia, my aversion. Nothing. Stuffing. You could say stuffing is the weirdest thing I've ever eaten.
Okay.
Because it looks like vomit. Like it makes no sense how my parents convinced me to eat it, but it's one of my favorite things.
I'm not a big stuffing guy.
Are we talking stuffing that came out from the inside of a gross turkey? Or
No, we're talking about stovetop. That shit you buy in a box. And then you make some sausage with it. That shit goes hard.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Thon, who just joined us, I prompted the question: based on the haggis? What's the weirdest thing you've ever eaten? Or wildest or out there? I imagine you being a jet setter, you've had some experience with some wide ranging delicacies.
I've had armadillo.
Really?
Yeah, barbecue.
What did it taste
like? Animal.
Yeah.
What did it taste like?
It was. I didn't know what it was. It was they barbecued it and gave it to and said, "Hey, try this." And I ate it, and they were like, "Oh, it's armadillo." It's like, oh, it wasn't bad.
Did they find it on the side of the road? Did they intentionally kill it?
I don't know. I was a kid. I have no idea.
He was humanely raised, and he was sent to an ethical butcher.
It was. I'm sure it was cage free.
Damn, I would have never thought like armadillo. I've always wanted to try alligator.
That's good. I've had that.
I've had gator. Gator's good. I've had it in different ways, where it's just plain. I've had blackened gator. Gator on a stick is really good. And then one time I had gator with like buffalo sauce on it. That's also tasty. So.
What about snake? Have you ever had snake?
I'd eat it. I haven't had it.
I would consider it if I was offered. I heard it tastes like chicken.
I'd try some snake.
I'm very
Gator gumbo is good.
Yeah. But I'm up for like trying lots of different foods. The only thing I know I actually like refused was I got this salad when I was really young, and it had like a raw squid in it, like baby raw squid. I'm like, nope, I'll pass on that. So
how did you do
everything else?
Did you ever see what was the fucking movie?
Old Boy.
Old Boy, yeah. How'd you deal during Old Boy?
That was before I even knew Old Boy existed.
Dude, that scene's so brutal.
Yeah.
Ugh.
The whole movie.
Apparently.
Yeah. I've had I can't remember, it was in like Hawaii. I think they called it taco. It was spelled weird, and it had chunks of raw like octopus tentacles in it. It wasn't very appetizing because I like calamari and stuff that's like cooked and breaded, and it was like very fucking chewy and like it tasted like I was like chewing on like nose cartilage or something. Like it was not cool. I think what about you, Steve? What's the weirdest thing you ever eaten?
I don't know.
You're pretty vanilla too. Yeah,
I can't really think of anything weird. I mean, human meat, obviously, but
what's your favorite part?
Long pig. I've had long pig before.
I keep thinking about Waterboy when he's like, what part are we about to eat? And she's like, a snake don't really have paws, but if I had to call it anything, I'd say it's his knee.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not super adventurous in the meat department.
Well, it could be anything. It doesn't have to be a meat. Mine's Rocky Mountain oysters, which, I mean...
That's testicles, right? Boiled testicles?
Yeah.
I'd eat those.
They're pretty salty.
It's because of all the sperm, right?
Yeah, that was the joke. I mean, I won't make any bones about it. I've had them multiple times, and they're fucking delicious. Like cooked, fried. It tastes just like a. What's that?
In my area, we have like a yearly Testy Fest where it's Testicle Festival. No joke. I haven't been to it yet, but
that's
they've got t-shirts.
But this guy, though, he wins.
But this guy,
he's the founder.
He makes his own Rocky Mountain oysters that are apparently pretty good.
Founding member, Naterade.
King of the Testy Fest.
Oh, man.
Is that a sea lion?
I'm sorry.
The delay on that.
Oh yeah, that was awesome. Good googly moogly.
Oh my god.
Yeah, what is the other one? Oh yeah, this is another one. I mean, probably Thon and I will only remember this one, but A Current Affair used to be a big show.
Oh yeah.
That fucking pyramid, the triangle, that noise. Yeah, dude. I used to love that shit. Yeah, I guess it was like Extra before Extra was like the closest thing I can think of. But one of the things I picked out this time that I never caught before, it was like, this week on A Current Affair, it's the reptile that took Hollywood by storm. It's this big ass iguana, and it's all iguana be in picture.
Iguana be in picture. I can't hear iguana without thinking of that.
Oh, dude, it's so awesome. And then it starts playing on Charlie's Fears like they're like they crafted content just for them. They're like, did you know 87% of poisonings happen in the home and often between couples and like all this stuff? And he's just like
working that thigh master.
It's such a gag like move when he's like doing it and he's getting hyped up and it's like fucking chicken wings and it's got that Foley just like dude, I remember the Thigh Master Suzanne Summers. That was a big deal.
Yeah.
I always remember that big fat kid from Major Payne when he's like laying crossways on his like bed doing the Thigh Master, eating a big bag of fucking Ruffles. He's just like canceling them out like that's fat kid logic for sure. So yeah, his paranoia kind of starts ramping up, and that's when you get that awesome. He goes like down to the Hall of Records or something, and he happens to like, oh yeah, like the paper because he's putting in like an ad for his parents' 30th anniversary, and he hears like somebody in like the obituaries or death column, and he hears that name, the plumber named Ralph. And I wrote down a couple, dude. Michael Richards has a couple funny fucking lines too.
Oh yeah.
So he's like, oh, this other guy, Ralph from Dallas, or no, before that, he's like, yeah, this guy had a heart attack on a cable car. I guess he really left his heart in San Francisco. And they're like chuckling, smoking cigarettes and stuff. Do you recognize the other big fat guy he's talking to? He was the super in Friends.
Yeah.
Oh
Steve.
yeah. Oh yeah.
The dance lessons. He's also in Overboard. He played Kurt Russell's buddy. He's been in a ton of shit. He was the dude in Wayne's World who got laid off. He's talking to crazy Ed. Dude, almost just for that, Ed O'Neill being a psychopath at the fucking donut shop in Wayne's World is worth alone. Almost.
When they let him go off on like a little tangent.
Yeah. He's like, you stare in a man's soul and you watch his spirit like leave his eyes and all this shit. Or he's like creating these fantasy, like if your wife leaves you and you find the guy who did it. He's like, oh, I was just going to go down to the make a grievance at the labor office. Yeah, dude. Ed O'Neill's got an awesome cameo. That's what I like about Mike Myers is all throughout his films, he's got like these fun little cameos in all of his films that really pay off. So, that's the other one. So then he hears Ralph, and then it's like plumber dies doing something, and then he's like, yeah, man, this guy takes his job too seriously. Life goes down the drain. And then he's like, hey, did they mention the wife? And it's that whole back and forth. Like he's like, okay, yeah, I'm the bad person. You got me. I'm sorry for being, dude, that whole volley back and forth is awesome. Did they mention the wife?
All right. I know I'm a bad person. Okay.
You win. Okay. I'm a bad person.
I'm a bad person. Dude. And he's got the hair even. He's like not even Kramer. He's got the comb over and is still doing wild shit. Like you can see some Kramer in there too. And he's like,
All I ever see from that guy is Kramer. So.
Yeah, that's like the most typecast.
You got to watch UHF then.
Dude, he is pretty great in UHF. Isn't he the janitor?
The janitor, yeah.
He's got those buck teeth.
Yeah.
Dude, I think I've said it once before. UHF is fucking slept on, man.
It is.
It's a fun fucking
Weird
movie.
Al, man.
If anybody likes, if you like Pee-wee's Big Adventure, I feel like it's kind of in that vein. Like you'll like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, check out UHF, man. So then, he preemptively nukes the relationship with Harriet because he's getting paranoid. He does his thing like, oh yeah, she's Mrs. X, the serial killer, but it actually hits. It's like this, it's not her, but it's right. It's connected to her. So he's actually onto something. One thing we didn't mention too is in the background, I like too how they did a good job developing Tony, Anthony LaPaglia's character, his best friend, and his life drama and wanting and being like bored as a cop, a detective, and Alan Arkin's character. What'd you guys think of these two?
He wasn't fitting the fantasy. He wasn't living his cop fantasy he dreamed of. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was like a little silly, but it was really funny.
The guy who plays the captain,
Alan Arkin, man.
Yeah, he kills it. He's if he wasn't playing it as well as he did, if it was played as somebody else, it probably wouldn't have been as good. But yeah, he killed it as the captain in this role. One of my favorite roles.
Somebody needs a hug.
Oh man, I love it towards the end when he starts trying to he's like, hey paisan, like
when he freaks out, that's the best.
Not right now, Captain.
Yeah. And then he wants to be serious in that moment, but they have this cosplay.
Like when the first one he coaches him up, he comes back in and he's like, good for you, that was really good.
Like, yeah, was it all right? Like,
he's like, I thought it was a little much at the end.
Oh man, that's another kind of like, I'm glad like this person didn't get that because Alan Arkin was able to swoop in. So originally Mike Myers wanted John Candy as the first choice to play Tony's police captain.
Wow.
But because Mike Myers had always wanted to work with him, but Candy had already agreed and was shooting Rookie of the Year, which that was a miss for him, man, because I feel like he didn't have
not Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, that's
Are you thinking of Gary Busey? John Candy wasn't in Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, he was a baseball announcer.
He was the announcer, right?
He was the announcer opposite Bob Uecker.
Because I thought I saw the same thing about Gary Busey. That he turned it down to go to Rookie of the Year.
They also wanted Gary Busey, but they wanted him for Vicky role.
That is a good miss.
So that's some fun. Like,
Gary Busey. Oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. So
couldn't come in for one day.
So
I'm so glad it was Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Gary Busey was offered the cameo of Vicky, the Alcatraz Park Ranger, but he was unavailable because of Rookie of the Year. And then he suggested Leslie Nielsen because he was a huge fan of Nielsen's work.
Wow.
And then, but Leslie Nielsen had just signed on to appear in Surf Ninjas in 1993 and was offered a shit ton more money, so he passed. So that's how they ended up getting Phil Hartman via the SNL connection.
Damn.
Pals, which that was perfect that happened. But then, so alternatively with the police captain, he wanted John Candy and he was unavailable. Then he went to Rick Moranis, which I don't know how that would have played, but he was also busy. So then it went to Alan Arkin. So it's kind of crazy those interconnections there, and
I think Rick Moranis should have killed it too. To be honest, that would have been pretty dope as the captain.
Yeah,
I don't think I would have taken him as seriously because he would have been around the same age as Tony, or at least the guy who's playing the captain.
How much funnier would it be Rick Moranis trying to be serious and be like real stern and commanding.
That is true, because you can't ever take him seriously like that.
It's hard to picture. Like him just losing his cool, you know? There's people like that, like our mutual friend Steve Luke. That's like one person I could never picture like melting down, you know?
Yeah.
Well, you can picture like Rick Moranis in like Little Shop of the Horrors when he kind of goes a little nuts at the end and like more serious and stern and like yelling and everything, kind of getting him a little bit of that end.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking back to like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids when he's smashing the shrink machine.
Oh, that guy.
Shrink Worry.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, oh wow. Good fucking God. Welcome to the conversation, Logan.
I'm still thinking about Leslie Nielsen. I would have screamed if he was in this movie.
Dude, he's awesome. He's another one of those guys that just doesn't miss his like timing, like everything he does, and like it's crazy how like late in life he worked, like all the way to like Wrongfully Accused, and I've always been a big fan of Dracula Dead and Loving It.
Yes.
Is that good?
Nickel.
Yeah, oh yeah.
It's fucking great, man.
He was in Golden Girls.
I was in. Was he?
Yeah, he's a Dorothy's man.
Oh shit!
Or at least for an episode. That's for a point. He is.
Right on.
I mean, Airplane doesn't get any better than that.
I mean, come on.
Right.
Don't call me Shirley.
Naked Gun.
Those Naked Guns. You can't not talk about those. Dude, he's got such a funny line about the dog, like feet. He's like, "Oh, your dog seems a little upset. I just fed him a treat." She's like, "Oh, well, that's his butt." No wonder he seems so upset. Like, just like his like dry timing is so awesome. Oh, I guess since we're on the topic, this is one that interests me too. So, Sir Sean Connery was the first choice to play Stuart Mackenzie, the dad. And he loved the script and genuinely wanted to participate, but he was booked with other films and had to decline reluctantly. That's fucking wild. Like, I mean, it would have obviously taken away the comedy gold that is Mike Myers playing his dad, but trying to think Sean Connery, like going outside his comfort zone, what could have been?
Pissed.
Oh, he's all right. He's just pissed.
The Piper down. So
we have a paper down. I repeat, a paper is down.
A paper is down.
So one of my life highlights is I took a trip to Vegas and I was out partying out in Vegas, and I met a group of four or five people from Scotland on vacation in Vegas.
Oh shit.
And I ended up hanging out, befriending them, hanging out with them. And we ended up at like 3 a.m. just bullshitting and talking about movies or whatever. And I had to they brought up So I Married an Axe Murderer. And I was like, I love that movie. They're like, no one's ever heard of it. And I was like, you're from Scott. You got the Scottish accent. I got to hear it. And he went right into the Piper down. And it was...
That's awesome.
Sounds like a dream.
Dude, yeah, that's awesome. A Piper is down.
You gotta give the boy a complex. Well, that's a huge noggin. It's a virtual planetoid. Has its own weather system.
It's spherical in shape with little bits of pointy pieces.
I was a bit offside.
Yeah, but back to Tony, played by Anthony LaPaglia. I like how much they were able to develop just with a side. He could have been just like a throwaway kind of side character, but what they were able to do with him and his interplay with being a friend to Charlie and trying to believe in him, and ultimately is the one who like turns the tide and cracks the case and everything gets there in time and all that. But his interplay with Alan Arkin's fucking awesome.
His interplay with Alan Arkin, with Stephen Wright, with Charles Grodin.
Yes. Yeah.
I love. Sorry, I love whenever he had Harriet in the room and he's like trying to interrogate her and he's you can hear Charlie like yelling on the roof, and he's like lighting a cigarette because he's about to start interrogating her. He's finally like living his fantasy. She's like, "There, you can hear them on the roof right now," and he's like, "Shut the fuck up."
You're not gonna take this moment from me. He's like, I thought I was gonna be Serpico. I'm just doing all these forms and paperwork. It's not like in the TV shows.
Well, paperwork is highly important part of our job.
Dude, another film Alan Arkin is fucking top notch in is Slums of Beverly Hills. He's fucking he aces that movie.
I was gonna say Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah, Little Miss Sunshine, awesome, god tier as well. Yeah, he's one of those people that doesn't really jump to mind, but when you see him and he's working, he's a professional for sure.
Yeah.
Another one, Kim Basinger turned down the role. It's one of it's the fucking Kirsten. I hate it. Kirst. She turned down the role of Harriet, which is wild to picture her in that role too. It seems a little too small time for her, but maybe not. After Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, which was directed in 92, director Chris Columbus was sent the script for this film and missed Outfire. And he was asked to direct one of the two, and that they'd be set in San Francisco. He liked this screenplay and briefly considered directing, but he ultimately decided to do Missed Outfire, which is great because that's a banger too. But and because he really wanted to work with Robin Williams, but he was the one who recommended Brenda Fricker from working with her on Home Alone 2 for this role. Nice. So that's another domino that kind of fell in favor of this film, that they were able to snag her too. Because yeah, she's awesome as the fucking pigeon lady. The scene when Kevin like first sees her and he's all sick, like that image always sticks out at me. Like, oh fuck, dude, she's got like bird shit all over her and like 1,000 birds on her. She's fucking creepy. But then by the end, you're like, it's this heartwarming moment, and she's comes to his aid like the South Bend Shovel Slayer in the first one.
It's scary out there. Ain't much better in here, kid.
That part legitimately, when I was a kid, like freaked me out. Like, oh, that's what it's like in the big city. Like, yeah, I think that's everything I pulled out of interest. One other thing for the horror heads in the group, the hotel at the end, the Dunsmuir Hellman estate, the classic cult horror film Phantasm was also filmed there. Phantasm 1. Fun fact. I had no idea. Did you guys do any, you didn't have to, but did you guys do any research or pick around for anything fun about the flick?
No.
Or see anything? Steve Dog.
Yeah, so I was very surprised to see it was a 6.5 on IMDb, and on Rotten Tomatoes it was 53 with the critics, 68 with the people. Dumb.
Blown away.
Underrated.
Yeah.
I did find 3 fun Amazon reviews, which Amazon is just the last bastion of mental illness for people with keyboards. So I've got a few here if you don't mind me sharing.
Oh, please do. I'm sick of talking.
So the first one is from a guy named Phil Beck, spelled Phyl Beck.
I didn't like that.
I didn't watch more than 10 minutes. Bad language.
What?
Whoa. Holy shit. That's wild.
The second one is from a person named Charlie Atwater. This is a good one. Let me know if this is how you would solve this problem. It says, the player wouldn't detect the disc. So I bought a 4K Blu-ray player, but it still won't detect the disc. Don't know what's wrong, but I'm disappointed.
Dude, Amazon is awesome for these. These are technical.
It is so
issues. Good. These aren't meant for content of the film.
Well, imagine if you bought a DVD and it didn't work, and you're like, it's probably not the fucking DVD. Guess I'll buy a brand new TV and DVD player. Huh?
Yeah,
still didn't work.
Another $20 on a different disc. No, I'm gonna upgrade my whole system.
I'm not gonna try to return it to Amazon, who has like the easiest return policy of all time.
Yeah, it's ridiculously easy. Some of these people, I don't understand how. Like the poor old lady who was 70 and her fingers hurt. The disc.
My hands don't work.
Yeah, I get that. That's fine. But this guy, I mean, granted, I don't know if he's 70 also, but.
Dude, these Amazon
how do
reviews,
they get that far?
The Amazon reviews are so fucking funny. There was an embarrassment of riches. So the last one is from Emily. It says, Item arrived in poor condition. The CD was dirty on the back with a couple deep scratches. Was not impressed. Shipping was very good, though. I don't know what that means.
What kind of fucking answer is this, dude?
I would be very unhappy with the shipping if that was the case.
It's crazy that they don't have a filter for like reviews of the film and like reviews of equipment. Or like...
That's what I was gonna say. I was like, is this like for the DVD or is this like the movie?
Yes.
This is like for the actual DVD, yeah.
There are barely any criticisms of the movie in the 1-star Amazon reviews.
Oh man.
It's all technical.
Yeah, so I had another little so the scene I told you with Tony, like he actually is busting out laughing there. That wasn't scripted or whatever. He was actually laughing there. And then in the butcher scene, when he's working in the butcher shop, Nancy Travis cuts off the tip of her finger from being distracted and laughing at Mike Myers' antics.
Oh, damn.
And they had to like stop and like, sew it back on and do all that shit.
Damn, that's crazy.
From a like, how is that not terrifying though? The way that he was just like throwing shit at the customers and pulling pranks on them.
Oh, dude! I was like, that's raw
so
meat.
Good.
That's raw meat, bitch.
Will you take me to the nurse?
Yeah,
give me a tourniquet.
Yeah, if I was at a butcher shop and I got a fucking like pork loin fucking boloed at me like that, I'd be like, what the fuck, man?
He tells her that
it's raw.
He worked in a butcher shop growing up, and she just like took his word for it. She was like, "Good, grab some shit."
Yeah, well, that's kind of like the Wild West in the early '90s. Like she didn't have an HR department, so she's like,
her own business. Yeah,
like there's like 85 people in there, screaming for meat.
He was slinging meat.
I want a quarter-inch
wash your ass today?
Sorry. No more, no less, dude. Every time that makes me, I just picture like
yeah.
The stick that she cut for him was like 2 inches.
It was like an inch and a quarter. Yeah, it was a fucking
not even close.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you link your own sausage?
As a matter of fact, I do.
Charlie says you're a busher.
The other thing I was going to ask Steve in particular, because we kind of had like a little watch party when they watched it. Is this not the most early 90s soundtrack you could ever picture?
Dude.
Yeah, it's interesting because I feel like there's like a weird sort of Groundhog Day soundtrack vibe in part of it. And then the other half is like the weird Here She Goes, like late mid 90s vibe. I don't know if that's just me, but
It's funny you bring up Groundhog Day because we also just watched that, like, on Groundhog Day. It was my first watch.
Punxsutawney Phil.
That's the first time you ever watched it?
Yeah, I had to text along with her. I was blown away. I was like, "You've never watched it?"
There are some crazy theories about this fucking movie. We could talk about it one of these days because holy shit.
Yeah, I didn't realize. I think you asked the question, like, how long was he in the Groundhog Day vortex? And I had never thought of that before. And I went to the Google cave, and there's some fucking math nerds, like, that have gone down the rabbit hole. They say he was stuck there for 33 years. I was like, what?
Thon said that he thinks he was stuck there for thousands.
Yeah, I did. That's a whole nother discussion. I think I may have I think I may have overshot that when I was saying that. I was really stoned. Anyway,
you're not now.
Piano.
Oh boy.
Anyway,
I've just had an apostrophe.
I do think Groundhog Day is one of the best comedy movies ever.
Yeah, it's hard to miss. Even people I know that aren't Bill Murray fans really like Groundhog Day. It's kind of one of those ones that cuts across lines, but
that about sums it up for me.
Too early for flapjacks? Yeah, it's such a great flick. But yeah, back to the soundtrack. I don't know. I felt pretty firmly in early, maximum like mid 90s, like 94. Like that Spin Doctor song is pretty fucking iconic.
Spin Doctors.
Two Princes.
Toad the Wet Sprocket.
Dude. Toad the Wet Sprocket. Fuck yeah. They got There She Goes, Bay City Rollers, The Saturday Night. Fucking iconic. Yeah, I really like the soundtrack. Even like the score, like the background music is kind of cool. Like when he's pulling into the parents' house, kind of got like a funky little score. Yeah.
Did you mention Two Princes?
Yes.
I like
the
that
Spin
one.
Doctors. Yeah. That's such a banger.
I love the jazz music for all his slam poetry. Also, I said I was like, okay, if a man wanted to get me back, this slam poetry was like number one way to do it. And they were like, no fucking way. Did y'all think the slam poetry was bad?
Yes.
It was funny.
Yeah, I guess I never thought about it.
Cool.
I mean, I felt like it fit for the movie. Like that's who he was, and like I bought like her like getting back with him. I guess maybe it was a little convenient, a little bit rushed, but it kind of had to be with the time constraints and like pushing the story along.
I thought it was annoying, but it was funny. So
yeah.
Whoa.
Whoa, man.
Let's see. Yeah, I think that's it for trivia. Actually, I guess a little bit of background. I had heard this and it kind of faded into the memory, but then I saw it again mentioned. But I guess some people weren't super satisfied or stoked with Mike Myers on the set. I guess he had a little bit of an inflated ego post Wayne's World, because they gave him this on like a silver platter, and he was very vocal about like where they wanted to shoot, and just like I guess he was like an egotistical, he kind of like big league people in some spots. The director said that he had his differences with how the film should be shaped.
Yeah, but you also have to keep in mind this could just be like sour grapes from other people. Like,
yeah, it's got to take it with a huge grain of salt.
Yeah.
I mean, he's been called a control freak before, you know. But,
well, who amongst us hasn't? So
yeah, yeah. I think it kind of goes with the territory, like someone this involved in playing multiple roles and things. So, But this was a box office disappointment, so it was a step back for him. I think it didn't even make back half the take. What was it? Cost $20 million to make, and it grossed worldwide $13 million. I know they've gotten it back.
Why would it
since on
cost
the back
$20
end.
million to make this movie?
Yeah. Especially back then. That's even...
One thing I saw was they had to recreate the entire roof of that dope-ass hotel at the Dunsmuir place because it's like a historical place, and they didn't want to fuck it up. So what about the other
19.5 million?
I wonder how much Myers got paid for this, because he's coming off of Wayne's World, and that was a massive success, so they might have thrown him like $5 million at that time. Maybe a little bit less. I don't know. That's all I have is what the budget was and then the worldwide take. So, yeah, it was considered a bomb. But since then, it's kind of a, cliche now, or almost trite to say it's a cult classic. But it found its audience after and made it all up in DVD sales and video and all that. So,
well, it holds up, obviously.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe just audiences were expecting something different. Maybe they were expecting more Wayne's World, or they just weren't feeling it at the time for whatever reason. But
business is business.
Stand on it.
Nice.
Do you think if this movie was more of a success that Mike Myers would have done more movies like this rather than jumping back into the jokey prosthetic stuff like Austin Powers or anything like that?
I don't know. It's a good question. I mean, he didn't fall off super hard until after all of the Austin Powers films.
Well, Love Guru.
Love Guru was his death knell. So, I mean, and then from there to Shrek, he had his resurgence, I guess. So he had some gaps, but yeah, I mean, they made Wayne's World 2 very quickly after this, which I don't know if it fared as well financially, but yeah, he didn't have, because I think it was 97 that Austin Powers came out. So it's not like he lost a ton of work, but yeah, maybe it would have changed the trajectory and Austin Powers got pushed out or he made something else. So maybe it's another one of those things that good that it happened for a reason. I'm not really the biggest Austin Powers guy either. I like the first one good enough, but I think that's about I don't even think I've seen Goldmember. I just know that shit from osmosis, the fucking gold and all that. I never watched it in its entirety. He looks like a baby. Steve, it looked like you were going to say something.
No.
Okay.
Nothing bad.
I know we kind of Swiss cheese our way through this one, but is there anything I missed that you guys liked? I know we had a few first-time watchers here. Is there anything else you wanted to cover before we wrap it up here?
There was one moment that still cracks me up. It was when it was right after the smoothie scene, as they were lying in bed and Myers freaked out. He has this moment where he's trying to make up for it by saying, "I'm a human blanket," and he gets on top of her. I'm a human blanket.
It's a great move. I stole that shit. I'm not
gonna lie. That's awesome.
Yeah, that one always cracks me up.
The honeymoon suite where they conga line you to your bedroom so that you can fuck, that was very off-putting to me. I was like, I feel very weird about this. That would be the most embarrassing thing if that were to ever happen to me.
Yeah, it was like they were almost about to go into the room and take his pants off and position. They were like, no.
They were mid-Samaring it.
Yeah, seriously.
That would make an awkward continental breakfast right there.
Yeah. Right? Just last night, you were holding my Johnson. Now you're holding my bagel. I guess. We've sung the praises of this film long enough. Did you guys have anything that was, I mean, besides what you just said was a little off-putting, the end there with the hotel wait staff? Is there anything else about the film that you didn't like, or any knocks you guys have?
No, perfect movie.
I don't have any.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got none.
That wasn't necessarily a knock on the movie. It was just that would have freaked me the fuck out.
Steve, was there? Oh, you already said that you thought that it was the actual wife who was the murderer.
Oh yeah.
Okay, I was going to ask you if there was any other inclination that made you guess somebody else or not. So.
No.
Never mind.
No.
Just the old Mandela at play.
Yeah, you guys almost called it, didn't you? Or you guys had a couple theories as we were going through. As we were watching, I remember you guys texting about it.
So the part where I did guess the sister, and it was the moment where Charlie was trying to make up with Harriet, and out of nowhere, the sister comes up behind Charlie, says hi, and he screams out loud. I'm like, oh! I wonder if it's a sister. So.
There was a moment where I really wanted to convince myself that it was, I was on the Rose train with Nate, but also, like, whenever female Ralph actually showed up, I was like, oh my god, what if it's her? But whenever they were at the hotel and Harriet was acting really weird, they kind of had me on the Harriet train. I was suddenly like, oh shit, maybe it is Harriet, because the whole time I'm like, I don't want it to be her. But then all of a sudden, like, during dinner, she's acting really weird. And then
they definitely try to frame it a certain way for you to kind of keep you guessing. Dude, one thing I forgot to mention, the fucking kiss she plants on Charlie at their wedding is fucking awesome. She's like manhandling him. I think he like
kicks his knee, kicks his leg up.
His leg up, yeah. That part always cracks me the fuck up too. She just like grabs him.
I loved her veil during the wedding. That was a really cute veil.
Yeah.
Her whole
definitely had like a Celtic or a Celtic vibe. Celtic, Boston. Yeah, I liked that too. Made me think of like Robin Hood or some such.
Oh yeah, for sure.
No, we haven't got to the all too critical. Do you know the words to only you stage?
Dude, whenever she started singing it at their reception, though, I did yell. I thought that was so funny.
That was so awkward when she was singing, though.
And then they cut to Brenda Fricker with the crying makeup.
Her 10 pounds of makeup caked on. God.
She's just hammered and crying.
It sounds exhausting having to put makeup on.
If you want my body and you think
Dude, the last Alan Arkin line that I really liked was when he yells at him, he like breaks through the office door and he's like, back off, Italian boy, stay away from it, it's too big for you. That I really got this time focusing on the Alan Arkin and LaPaglia side plot was a lot of fun. LaPaglia also, I don't know if you want to do a minor quick astrology.
Empire Records.
Empire fucking Records. The drummer man. Have you ever seen Empire Records, Steve?
Yeah, I think so.
Liv Tyler.
Yeah.
That's another like hardcore, like ultra 90s vibe.
Oh yeah. Yep. That happened right. That was right in there with like Clueless, like smack dab in the center of the 90s universe. Yeah, Empire Records was fun. And then he went on later. Any fans of I think Criminal Intent? Or
yes. That's where I heard the name.
It's like No Person of Interest. One of those fucking shows.
Oh, there's Law and Order. I was like, I've heard his name.
Harris. Really... Yeah, I juxtaposed with Law and Order CI with D'Onofrio. No, it's like person. I think it's Person of Interest. He later became like the chief on that show. So
Without a Trace.
Without a Trace. That's what it is. Who else? Brenda Fricker. We talked about her. Are you familiar with anything else she's been in, Thon, other than Home Alone Deuce?
No, I think that was about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. She was in A Time to Kill. McConaughey, Sam Jackson.
Yeah.
I think My Left Foot is what she got the Oscar for in 1989, but
makes sense.
Alan Arkin.
Never seen A Time to Kill.
No way. Are you serious?
This is what I live for.
We got to put that one on the list. That's not really, I guess you might call it a minor.
I've never even heard of it.
It's not talked about a bunch, but I remember in 96, dude, when I was in 6th grade, that was a big deal, man. That was a fucking awesome flick. Yes, they deserve to die, and I hope they burn in hell. Dude, Sam Jackson, it's a good movie, man. It's fucking powerful. It's a really good fucking movie. That's when, like, I think McConaughey really put his flag down as being like a badass motherfucker.
Well, I guess you'll just have to prove it.
We're adding it to the list. Yeah.
Hang on,
let's see, Mike.
You had Rose, who was, of course, also an axe murderer in a Tales from the Crypt episode.
That's what I was trying to pull up. It's hang on here.
That is an awesome connection.
Which I definitely brought this movie up when we did that episode.
Yes, you did. And I even thought to myself, and I was wondering, it's funny, I was like, did Thon like unintentionally like not spoil this for us? But I thought that at one point you may have actually mentioned like, I don't think you said anything because I feel like you knew that we wanted to watch this movie later, but I was like, is there any way that he unintentionally spoiled it for us and say that she was an axe murderer in another movie? But I couldn't remember.
I think I phrased it in a way that I think I just said she was in the movie and then kind of left it at like that she wasn't actually the axe murderer. I don't know.
Oh shit, this is the season 1 episode, Lover Come Hack to Me. Season 1 episode 5 is the episode that she's in. And that I really did like that episode. I want to watch it again now.
I can't even remember that one hardly.
It's a wild ride.
Is that the one where it's like the Playboy dude and he's
marrying her for her money, right?
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. I remember that one now. Okay.
I mean, that's like 30% of all of the episodes.
But it is true.
Fair.
Tales from the Crypt is all about money. Money, money, money.
Fair point.
For Christ's sake, do you have another question?
We talked about Phil Hartman roles, right? We talked about did we talk about Stephen Wright at all? We never didn't even really talk about him.
No, we touched on him briefly. The guy, most people know him as the guy on the couch in Half Baked. I don't really know what else he's been in. Wasn't he in like a Pee-wee or? I feel like he was in some kooky.
I think he's most known for being a comedian.
Yeah.
That's his primary bread and butter is stand-up comic. He's got a real weird, like dry, almost kind of like a Mitch Hedberg, like a proto Mitch Hedberg kind of style.
The guy you're talking about, is he the one who's Beethoven's dad?
No, that's Charles Grodin.
Oh, okay.
He's the pilot. The pilot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I didn't.
I was having the wildest dream. Was just born. It was 8.5 months premature. Everyone was freaking out.
It makes so sense.
He's the voice of the DJ in Reservoir Dogs.
Oh shit! I never knew that. That's wild. I haven't seen that movie in a long fucking time.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for that. That's like the chick who was the DJ on the Warriors was the chick at the beginning of Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego? All right, gumshoes. Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Did you guys? I'm sure you guys missed that one. Steve, maybe tail end.
I got you.
Oh yeah.
I know you got me.
Okay.
That was in the Ghost Rider era.
Yeah.
Of PBS. Dude, I remember me and my cousins used to play Carmen Sandiego, the PC.
Yes.
CD-ROM.
I had Where in Time as Carmen Sandiego.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, those games went fucking hard, man. Get the fucking dossiers and shit. Fucking start gumshoeing it.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, I didn't realize Adam Arkin has over 112 acting credits. That's fucking, and all of them are like legit. It wasn't like, there isn't a lot of fluff like B movie shit. Like he's in Glengarry Glen Ross. I always forget that. Plays kind of a similar character. Dude, the dad in Edward Scissorhands. He's fucking awesome in that role, man.
Oh shit! Yeah,
like the fucking suburban NPC prototype. Fucking dude. Yeah, he's in a lot of good shit. All right. Well, any last words covering or specific to So I Married an Axe Murderer? I think we bled this thing. We're taking it as far as we can.
I really I'm really glad that I got people 3 first-time watchers, and everyone is so positive about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was kind of worried that like I'm looking back on it, watching it, and loving it, but I don't know, someone a first-timer that's watching it now, how they think it holds up and everything. So that's pretty cool.
It made me wish there was a cafe I could go to for slam poetry every night too. I was like, damn. If I wasn't so uncomfortable in public spaces, this would be cool, like fun to go to.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of experience like during this time frame, but I feel like they captured the essence of what it must have been like in the early 90s in San Francisco. I remember the only time, like, I guess earlier than maybe 96 or 97 that I was there, I saw Toys, the opening of Toys with Robin Williams in 1992. We went to like downtown San Francisco. My dad took me to this crazy like Art Deco like theater, and like just like the pulse of the city, like just everything about a big city is like to a small town kid like myself. It was a cool atmosphere. It feels like everything's like alive. There's so much going on in the hustle and bustle and shit. And I haven't been there since post pandemic, but I've heard it's gotten pretty fucking rough. But yeah, it must have been a cool time, that slice of like, like late 80s going into like the early 90s, mid 90s. Because I always had fond memories going to like, Golden Gate Park and going to Candlestick for a Giants game. Went to a couple of those. It's a cool little unique city. But yeah, I also echo that sentiment. It's pretty rare, I think, to get a big group, especially, first time watches, and all have a great time checking it out. So thank you guys for joining us and watching this film. I fucking did it again. I did this with Chris on our last episode. Logan, do you want to remind listeners of what Ghoulish University is and where they can check you guys out?
Yeah. Right now we cover Tales from the Crypt. We have, I was trying to get back on a weekly schedule, but obviously that has not happened yet. New Year's resolution, though, we're working on it. So we're working on that, but we're on Instagram at Ghoulish University, and we're also on Twitter at Ghoulish Uni. We're on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We're a good time. Check us out.
Yeah, please do. We've had the honor of guesting on their show more than a handful of times, and it's an awesome time every time. There's one on the horizon. I've got starred. The next one with the Christopher Reeve episode should be a ton of fun. What's Cooking?
I'll be in contact.
One of my all-time faves. So yeah, check out Ghoulish wherever you get your podcasts. Thank you guys again for joining us. Any last thoughts for anybody?
Thank you for having us on. This is a total blast. We always love hanging out with y'all, but also this movie was just awesome. So thanks for having us on for this one specifically.
Fucking A.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Hell yeah. And this I'm shooting to release this Valentine's Day, so a day earlier on Wednesday. So if I hold true to that, happy Valentine's Day, and thanks for joining us for this special of So I Married an Axe Murderer. If you've never seen it, you're in for a treat. We'll see you when we see you, and we will see you later.
Yeah, man, I miss my Uncle Charles, y'all. He should be gone in front of his home.
How can you not hear Jones? How is it y'all?
Because
It's definitely
we have ears. That's
definitely
why.
y'all.
I hear my uncle
Charles,
or
y'all.
I miss
Play
my
it again.
I miss my Uncle
I
Charles,
dare you.
y'all.
Play it again.
I miss
Yeah,
my Uncle
man, I
Charles.
miss my Uncle Charles, y'all. He should be gone in front of
What
his
the
home.
fuck are you talking about?
Oh, gee, baby.
And I miss my Uncle Charles Jones. And
No,
I miss
no,
him.
it's y'all.
No.
One more.
No.
One more time. Clean. Silent.
Yeah, man, I miss my Uncle Charles, y'all. He should be gone in front of his
I hear a Jean.
There's-
There's no J at
world
all.
where-
There's no J.
He elongated
boy.
it.
There's
He's
it's
just,
definitely not plural. There's no S at the end.
It's implied. It's carried through. It's like swept by the wind.
I can recite misheard lyrics. It happens to me. Happens to the best of us.
We've only just begun to
White lace and
promises.
I snuck it into our last episode. We paid our respects.
Oh, no.
Got my hand back. Yeah, pour one out. Rest in peace, Carl Weathers. It was kind of a quinky dink. We were just happened to be talking about him, and then the next day, the news broke. So,
Oh shit.
yeah. Pour one out for Carl Weathers, aka Chubbs. All right, take it easy.
And a second one for Toby Keith.
Toby Keith should have been Cowboy.